Hello, I am the Accessibility Evangelist, and I'm going to be talking about how we designed our product to be accessible to a wide variety of people, specifically targeting the personas we made. From the beginning, we have been designing each component and each page so that it looks good on a variety of sizes, zooms in and out gracefully, high contrast, able to be navigated with the keyboard, and accessible to people with colour blindness, and using colour schemes that have a high contrast between the foreground and background in all cases. Testing how the application scales with different devices, with different resolutions and different aspect ratios was one of the most important parts of our accessibility in our opinion, because it covers the widest number of users. There's a high probability that people using the application will be from all kinds of different types of devices, and even during development we found that often the website would look radically different depending on the type of computer monitor a person was using. We thoroughly tested that all of the components worked well with different types of screens and devices. We achieved this mostly using Bootstrap and Flexbox. We found Bootstrap to be invaluable for automatically sizing and choosing the number of columns that elements would use on different screen sizes. We also looked at scaling. We found again that our applications were by default scaled very differently depending on device and web browser. So the scaling would be using Control plus or Control minus on a PC in order to change the scaling. This also included changing the font size, since not all of us had the same default fonts on our computer, and we were verifying that each other's components looked good on different browser settings. On the map feature, we additionally have specific zoom buttons in order to change just the size of the map, and this allowed in our testing for more fine-grained control over the exact look in order to make it as easy to see as possible without the possibility of other components covering the map. The colour schemes were chosen with high contrast in mind. Generally we have light beige with black text and sometimes brown with white text, and we verified that in low light conditions or reducing the contrast on image editing tools, the text was still legible. We initially had yellow and green to represent the two colours for letters that were correct and letters that were in the wrong place. However, we found that with people with certain types of colour blindness, they would have trouble distinguishing, as well as these two colours being fairly close anyway. So there was an option added for a different colour scheme using orange and blue instead, in order to account for people that may have difficulty distinguishing between the yellow and the green. All parts of the website are able to be navigated through using the keyboard alone. We achieved this by testing that every single element was accessible using Tab, and although we could add some more quality of life improvements, every component is accessible simply using Alt left, Alt right, Tab, Shift Tab, and Enter. We considered and even started implementing the idea of array labels to the project. However, for the word guessing part, especially with highlighting colours and having multiple enemies with a lot of information displayed, as well as items and item numbers, it would be very difficult to convey this information purely through audio, and as a result, certainly a lot more effort would be needed if this is practical to do.